Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. No gentle way to talk about this, but I can at least be quick, because I don't think we have any disagreement on whether or not this is a bad or a good thing. Right now, the Israelis, specifically the Netanyahu government, that's like differentiating between the Palestinians and Hamas, which are their long time ago elected officials. The Israelis are starving the Palestinian people, not Hamas. All Palestinians. They're starving them to death. Children are dying now. In addition from being bombed, they're dying because they are daring to exist. You know, they're doing the age-old offense, the thing that angers Netanyahu so much. They are existing, and that's killing them because they're not being given food. In fact, food is being prevented from going to them. I won't show you the video. I watched it. I confirmed to the best of my ability that it was the correct video. Multiple news sources have now confirmed this. Here's what happened. A truck full of flour. Not exactly the tastiest treat in the universe, but it will keep you alive if you're starving to death. A truck full of flour had a bunch of starving people in Palestine run up to it. And it turned out to be a trap because the Israelis opened fire on them and mowed down civilians. Amazing. You know, these, you got to hand it to the IDF. They're great shots because most of the people that got shot, you don't see them crawling for a little bit after. You know, they just fall over like that. And now it's not like there's no fear to be had. I mean, a lot of them realized people were being murdered before they themselves were murdered and got shot. So that, you know, their last moments were still drenched in fear as they fled for their lives, running away from the flour truck. Some of the people that had moments of indecision, you could I mean, it's a top-down view that you're seeing this from, you understand. But you could just see them. They're like, do I dart back to the flour truck and try to grab a handful of flour so that my baby doesn't starve to death tonight? Or do I run for my life now? And in that moment where they start to run and they hesitate just a bit, that's when a bullet takes off the top of their head and they fall over dead. And don't worry, the baby's only going to mourn maybe for 8-9 hours before it succumbs to starvation. And it too is dead. And there's a genocide. Family gone, a people gone. Because people are somehow unclear on what's happening in Israel. We're not. I'm not sure what to do in the very long term. I would like Joe Biden to face, and I mean this with sincerity, criminal charges. I would like every Democrat and every Republican who voted, who was behind the U.S. vetoing UN resolutions to stop the violence. I would like them to be tried as war criminals. I believe they are complicit in war crimes. As in, what Israel is doing is a genocide. We have had ample evidence of that. It is only politics. And frankly, dirty, deceptive politics that leads people to believe otherwise. This is coming from somebody who bent over backwards to try to work with the Democrats in the beginning of this, in the interest, assuming that they were still human beings. in the beginning of this to try to minimize the deaths. Here's what I recommend you do. Again, I don't have a long-term plan. This is a short-term plan, but it's what, in my opinion, it's a good short-term plan. Vote uncommitted. Even if I want Joe Biden to go to prison for what he has already done, it doesn't mean I want him to be as bad or worse going forward. I want him to do a better job as the president for as long as he is president. I sincerely hope he's got 4 more years after this, because the alternative is a worse criminal who's admitted they will do the same crimes that are currently happening, plus a whole lot more. Not a great decision. I'm just trying to be frank with you about it. However, you're not going to be doing Joe Biden any favors by enabling terrible behavior, by making it seem like he's safe to help commit this genocide because he's got your support. Vote uncommitted. This is from Mother Jones, Julianne McShane. Washington State's biggest private sector union backs uncommitted Democratic vote. The 50,000 strong chapter said it's worried about Biden's ability to beat Trump and demanded a ceasefire in Gaza. That about sums it up, doesn't it? Washington State's largest private sector labor union has followed Michigan voters' lead, urging its 50,000 members to vote uncommitted rather than for Joe Biden in the state's March 12 primary. The news, first reported by NBC Today, comes as Biden faces growing protests from voters on the left about his support for Israel in its war in Gaza, and concerns about his ability to defeat Trump, the GOP's all but certain nominee, in November. The executive board for the Washington chapter of the United Food and Commercial Workers, which represents more than 50,000 of the union's more than 1 million workers, including some in parts of Oregon and Idaho, unanimously voted for the endorsement Wednesday night. Let me read that again. Unanimously. The executive board for the Washington chapter of the United Food and Commercial Workers unanimously voted for the endorsement Wednesday night, just one day after more than 100,000 voters in Michigan, or 13% overall, not bad, Michigan, well done, opted to vote uncommitted as a protest vote, as my colleague Noah Lannard reported. Enough uncommitted votes can mean some delegates at the party's national convention are uncommitted and can vote for the nominee of their choosing. Isn't that interesting? Here's why I like the uncommitted vote. First and foremost, I don't care if your state doesn't have an uncommitted option appearing on the ballot. Write in the word uncommitted. Just write it in. If there is no write-in option on your ballot, vote for everybody except a presidential nominee. Or if you so choose, vote for Marianne. She's still appearing on these ballots. Yeah, why not? My only point is that we're making Joe Biden into a better politician by sending this message. If he leaves this primary thinking that Democrats as a whole are satisfied with the job he has done, he will lose in November because he will not change his behavior. If, however, we have a clear message sent, there's a chance. If you vote for Marianne Williamson, I'm not sure what you're saying. That doesn't mean you're not saying something. I'm just being honest about my perspective. I don't know what specifically Joe Biden could have done to make you happy. Because before October 7th, There was not a clear message there. If you vote uncommitted, and this is the benefit to it being a rather last-minute thing, if you vote uncommitted, you are saying this is specifically because of the genocide. Now, there's a hell of a lot that other candidates offer that Joe Biden doesn't. But what uncommitted offers is a clarity of message, using the situation as it is to our advantage. It makes it more likely, not that we have to wait till November for the killing to stop, but that the killing will stop tomorrow. Biden loses enough delegates to uncommitted, or frankly, any delegates to uncommitted, there's a chance the killing stops tomorrow. And after the killing has stopped, after we have found a two-state solution, preferably, but really any long-term solution to the atrocities that continue to happen in the Middle East, in Gaza. After all that, we can deal with Biden's sins up until this point, for which I would like to see, at a minimum, I should say, an international court agree that if he leaves the United States, he's getting arrested. But there are more important things to do first. There are more important issues. Issue number one, let's feed the babies and not gun down their parents.